And he said, Hearken ye, all Judah, and ye inhabitants of Jerusalem, and thou King Jehoshaphat. Thus said the Lord unto you, Be not afraid nor dismayed by reason of this great multitude, for the battle is not yours, but God's. There are some mornings when you wake up already feeling behind. Before your feet even hit the floor, your mind is running through everything that needs your attention. The bills, the deadlines, the doctor's appointment, the family situation, the conversation you've been putting off, the uncertainty you can't seem to shake. Sometimes it can feel like you're standing in front of an army that's much bigger than you are. That's exactly where King Jehoshaphat found himself. Several armies had joined together against Judah, and from a human perspective, the situation looked hopeless. There weren't enough soldiers, there weren't enough resources, and there wasn't an obvious solution. The people were outmatched. And honestly, most of us know what that feels like. Maybe not a battlefield, but in life. We've all had moments where the problem in front of us seemed larger than the strength we had to face it. That's why God's words here are so comforting. Be not afraid nor dismayed. Notice that he doesn't begin by explaining every detail of what he's about to do. He begins by addressing their fear. Because fear has a way of clouding everything else. When fear takes over, it's easy to believe that our circumstances are bigger than God. It's easy to forget everything He's done in the past. It's easy to convince ourselves that this problem is somehow different, too large, too complicated, too impossible. Then comes one of the most reassuring statements in the entire passage. For the battle is not yours, but God's. That doesn't mean God's people had nothing to do. They still had to trust Him, they still had to obey Him and His instructions, and they still had to show up. But they weren't responsible for producing the victory. God was. There's an important difference between carrying responsibility and carrying ownership. Believers are called to be faithful. We're not called to be sovereign. We're called to obey. We're not called to control every outcome. Sometimes we spend so much energy trying to carry burdens that God never asked us to carry. A bicycle ride reminds me of that once in a while. Every now and then I'll catch myself gripping the handlebars far tighter than I needed to. Maybe the road is rough, maybe there's traffic, maybe I'm just tired that day. But after a while, I realized that squeezing the handlebars harder isn't actually helping me ride any better. It's just wearing me out. Sometimes life is like that. We grip every situation with all of our strength, believing that if we just worry a little harder or think a little longer, somehow we'll gain control. Usually all we accomplish is exhausting ourselves. There comes a point where you have to loosen your grip and trust the one who sees farther down the road than you do. And that's not giving up, that's giving over. Jehoshaphat and the people of Judah still had to walk forward in faith, but they walked knowing the outcome rested in God's hands. That's a lesson worth remembering because not every battle we face is ours to win. Some battles belong to God. Some situations require faith more than force, and some victories come not because we were the strongest people in the room, but because God proved Himself faithful once again. So as you move through this Tuesday, ask yourself a simple question. Am I carrying something that I never actually handed over to God? Am I trying to control something that only He can truly handle? If the answer is yes, maybe today is a good day to loosen your grip. Do what He's called you to do. Be faithful where He's placed you. Walk or ride in obedience. trust His promises, and leave the outcome in His hands. Because according to 2 Chronicles 20, verse 15, the greatest source of peace isn't believing that you're strong enough for every battle. It's remembering that some battles were never yours to fight alone. They belong to God, the Most High. Thank you for joining me here this morning, my friends, my family, and any other you folks out there that might be listening and riding along. I sure do appreciate you stopping by here this morning, delving into the Lord's Word. I hope to see you here tomorrow. Until then, I'll be willing. Shalom, shalom.